They come into the ring with a strategy, and you have to eliminate their strategy. So that's why in sparring you work on just defending, moving out of range, going through the rounds and doing it.
Defend the straight shots, that's it, good. Feet now, good. Little feint again, that's it. Just keep it simple, don't give nothing away, that's it, nice.
Former fighters or whoever, they don't give Jake any chance at all. I'm not saying he doesn't have any chance. I'm not saying that at all. I'm just saying that, everybody in the know-how as far as the boxing world, they're like, Jake has zero chance to win this fight.
Brought in to work with Jake, but I don't know that Ben Davidson would do that. I don't know if just as AJ leaves to go train with, and this is why I say Ben Davidson, AJ has left to go and train with Usyk's team. Left Ben Davidson, go train with Usyk's team. I don't know, because their relationship is so good, I don't know that Ben Davidson would just turncoat on AJ and help somebody prepare for
One interview Anthony Joshua's training camp has become a major focal point as the fight with Jake Paul approaches, and new footage shows just how seriously he is taking his preparation. His sessions highlight the advanced conditioning and movement he plans to showcase in this contest. Every drill shows focus and intensity. The biggest discovery inside the camp isn't a fresh workout routine, it's the team itself. Joshua has moved on from the Ben Davidson period and is now working with members of Alexander Usyk's camp, training far from London in a quieter setting. That's a dramatic change. AJ is essentially adopting methods from the man who beat him twice, trying to fix weaknesses instead of relying only on physical strength. Recent reporting has verified this adjustment in Joshua's preparation. The decision has stirred debate. Critics within British boxing, especially Dillian White, question whether switching camps so often is smart and even claim Joshua appears directionless. Expect this tension to fuel his training just as much as it energized.
It's true that AJ has gone out to train with Alexander Usyk's team. So I don't know if that means Alexander Usyk per se, but Alexander Usyk's team. I have no issues with that at all. Some people might sort of throw out the phrase, if you can't beat them, join them. AJ's always kind of done that. A lot of fighters do this as well, by the way, but when it's AJ, it's big noise. A lot of fighters go to camps and spend a couple of weeks in a camp. Like, most fighters do it, in fact. They'll go to a camp, spend a couple of weeks, Obviously, it looks a bit different because AJ Usyk, but most fighters do that. I mean, there's no problem sort of soaking up knowledge and seeing how people do things. Like, why would you not want to see how one of the greatest heavyweights in the world trains and what he's doing over there? You'd want to see it. I don't know if it means AJ's going to jump ship and be trained by Alexander Usyk's team. I doubt that very much.
People inside the camp describe a carefully chosen sparring lineup, with southpaws to mirror Paul's awkward footwork and lighter but fast heavyweights to replicate his speed and movement. Sparring focuses on short, high-intensity rounds that train the body to handle quick attacks and recover between explosive bursts. Coaches rotate sparring partners so Joshua constantly faces different styles, awkward movers, quick hitters, and fighters who rely on clinching. That diversity helps against someone like Paul, who blends basic technique with unpredictable movement. Meanwhile, Jake Paul's preparation for the showdown with Joshua has become a major talking point, fueled by surprising behind-the-scenes decisions. Reports say Paul has brought in trainer Don Charles, known for guiding Daniel Dubois. This immediately raised questions because Dubois is a powerful heavyweight who once trained under Charles and even holds a knockout win over Joshua. According to discussions among fans and analysts, Paul possibly working with someone tied to an AJ knockout adds strategic symbolism that analysts think Paul may be using on purpose. Wade, the analyst, adds that Paul might also consider contacting Ben Davidson, another well-known trainer. Davidson previously worked with Joshua before their split, which leaves him potentially available for Paul
being brought in to work with Jake, but I don't know that Ben Davidson would do that. I don't know if just as AJ leaves to go train with, and this is why I say Ben Davidson, AJ has left to go and train with Usyk's team. Left Ben Davidson, go train with Usyk's team. I don't know, because their relationship is so good, I don't know that Ben Davidson would just turncoat on AJ and help somebody prepare for him. Don't think that would happen, unless it was like a Tyson Fury who he already had a relationship with. So that leaves another individual. That leaves Mr. Don Charles. Don Charles, British boxing trainer, known for coaching Derek Chisora, but also known for coaching one Daniel Dubois, who just so happened, as you see here in this little very small picture down on the right side here, just so happened to, as of earlier this year, absolutely chin and stop AJ in dramatic, epic fashion in AJ's triumphant return after AJ stopped Francis Ngannou and had all his confidence back and was fighting for a world title, and Daniel Dubois said, no sir, not tonight. If this is true, it makes things very interesting. Don Charles was in a pretty much chaotic camp. If you guys remember with Daniel Dubois, it was like Daniel Dubois' dad was also kind of training him, which was an issue with Shane McGuigan when he was there, and then Don Charles came in and it was chaos in the corner, and Don was trying to coach and couldn't really do it, and a lot of people thought that Don didn't get his fair shake when it came to Daniel Dubois and got a lot of the blame for Dubois losing to Usyk just a couple of months ago. But he is a very good trainer and a guy that just worked on a game plan to beat Anthony Joshua. Now again, Daniel Dubois is also 6'4" and 250 pounds with a crazy reach. So you can't teach Jake Paul that. What will Don...
Interview while Paul's coaching choices continue generating debate. Henry, a podcast host, shifts the focus to the physical realities of the matchup. He says Jake Paul weighs about 227 pounds, while Anthony Joshua sits around 145 pounds. On the surface, Paul may have looked at that gap and assumed it was manageable. A difference of roughly 20 pounds doesn't seem huge on paper. However, Henry stresses that this fight isn't about the numbers on the scale, but about massive differences in stamina, experience, endurance, height, and ring maturity. Joshua is taller and far more practiced in high-pressure situations. He has endured deep rounds against world-class opposition, giving him conditioning.
But whatever, and I'll still be able to go and fight MMA fighters and all that sort of thing. I think he well knows that he could lose against someone much worse than Joshua, so why not just do it? At the same time, yeah, it's entirely possible he also thinks he could genuinely put a dent in Joshua and win this fight, which is mad. The other factors are the circumstances of the fight. You know, it's an 8-rounder, so Jake may even be thinking, well, maybe I can out-jab him for a round and run around. I'm quicker than him, potentially. Maybe my gas tank's better than his. Potentially, I can do this for 8 rounds. I'm going to say now I don't think his gas tank is better than AJ's, and there's another reason why that's definitely not going to be the case, in my opinion. But Jake might be telling himself this. Or worst-case scenario, I am getting hurt. He is winning the fight, but I can run around for 8 rounds, make AJ look silly. I can frustrate him, get through it on points, on a points loss, which would be a giant win for Jake and a massive, massive loss for AJ if he just won this fight on points. The other thing is the fact that they're putting in a weight clause in this fight. So there is a maximum weight limit for the fight. Apparently, Anthony Joshua can't weigh more than 245 pounds. And just to give you context for what that means, Anthony Joshua's previous weights, Daniel Dubois, he was 252 and a quarter, Francis Ngannou 252 and a half, Wallen 251, Helenius 250, Franklin 255, and then the Usyk fights, he was in the 240, so 240 and 244 and a half. Basically, it's a weight that Anthony Joshua hasn't been in 3 years. But also, Anthony Joshua, as a heavyweight, has never had to cut weight. So even if he is in the 250s, let's say he's the same weight as Ngannou, it's a 7-pound water cut, which isn't really much when you're a man as big as Anthony Joshua, if indeed that's what he decides to do, rather than just taking the weight off anyway. And if he does decide to take the weight off anyway, what we'll see is someone who's got better stamina. But again, I think this gives Jake Paul confidence. He thinks, well, I'll come in probably around about 220. He was 227 when he fought Mike Tyson, so he'll probably be thinking, well, it might only be a 20-pound weight difference, which is not insurmountable. I'm talking as if I'm Jake Paul right now, just to reiterate. And if he does decide to cut water weight, which maybe they know Joshua's pretty big right now because he's not been fighting for a while. I think he's been in some sort of training camp, but another fact.
Nelson adds to the discussion by confidently stating that Paul is making a major mistake by agreeing to this fight. He argues that the level of risk far outweighs any potential reward, and calls the decision one of the most questionable moves Paul has ever made in boxing. Nelson says that challenging a fighter with Joshua's credentials isn't just bold, it's unnecessarily dangerous. He believes Paul could have kept facing opponents closer to his skill level, and slowly worked his way up to tougher names. Instead, he has jumped toward one of the most intimidating heavyweights of the modern era. According to Nelson, that jump may cost him severely, because Joshua brings a combination of power, speed, accuracy, and elite experience. By entering the ring with someone who has ruled the division.
And Jake Paul, you know what, there's still something inside of me, that just tells me it's not gonna happen. And I don't know why. Because all the press and the money's being spent on building this up. I'm like, there's something inside me thinking, this ain't gonna happen, even to the point where Jake Paul's hired Don Charles to be his coach or assistant coach or be involved in the team. You know, so he's making all the moves, and I just thought, if there's not a fix, if there's not some kind of settlement this, and it is legit, as they say it is, he's 10 hours gloves over 8 rounds, it baffles me why Jake Paul would do it unless he's cashing out. I said it last week. I'll say it next week. I just think, is this gonna happen? Is it gonna happen? I just don't know. I'm struggling.
When he also comments, emphasizing how unprecedented Paul's move truly is. He notes that Paul has never fought anyone even close to Joshua's size. All of Paul's previous opponents have been smaller or similar in weight, often coming from lighter divisions or other sports entirely. Stepping into the ring with someone as large and technically polished as Joshua is completely new for him. When he says the challenge isn't only about weight, it's about the sheer presence and pressure a heavyweight like Joshua brings. When the first solid punch lands, he says Paul will feel the difference between a cruiserweight exchange and a true heavyweight blow.
The legitimate heavyweight, and the people he's been fighting are not, none of them are 1/10 of what this man is as a fighter. His opponent in this fight, I don't know what your opinion is on this, but I am genuinely curious, because even while I think a heavyweight has a chance in any fight, a puncher's chance, I don't think Jake Paul has anything for Anthony Joshua.
Do you respect him for taking it?
Yeah, you have to, because that's terrifying. Like that. Look, I understand that Jake Paul is ranked in cruiserweight, but there are weight classes for a reason, and this is a man that I thought was going to be the guy who knocked off Fury and Deontay Wilder, and a lot of people thought that. A lot of people thought he was going to be undisputed.
Two-time unified heavyweight champion, Olympic gold medalist in 2012. His last fight was for the title against Daniel Dubois and got knocked out. That was his last fight. So it's not like he's washed up. It's not like he's fighting bums and all that stuff. Yeah, it's a crazy thing. I get annoyed at the people who are doing like the sanctimonious thing, that this is a stain on AJ's legacy, that this is a stain on the sport of boxing, because you often hear that from people who actually don't watch boxing, don't know anything about AJ, don't know anything about the sport, and it's like, save me the sanctimony, because as you probably know, boxing has been doing fights like this for decades. In 1976, Muhammad Ali, who was the heavyweight champion of the world, went to Japan and fought a guy named Antonio Inoki in a mixed rules pro wrestling match. In 1975, after the Rumble in the Jungle, George Foreman, after losing to Ali, went to Toronto, Maple Leaf Gardens on a Saturday afternoon and fought 5 jobbers. Like, this stuff happens. And so I don't think this is...
Wait, what?
Yeah. He fought 5 people on the same day.